Action News at 10 on TV 20 Detroit.
Our top story tonight, the shooting rampage in Kalamazoo. 6 people shot and killed, 2 others severely injured.
The shooting's taking place across 3 separate locations, from a townhome complex, car dealership, and a popular restaurant.
Police are trying to figure the motive behind this man, Jason Dalton. Police say Dalton is an Uber driver and former insurance adjuster with no criminal record.
We kick off our team coverage tonight with 7 Action News reporter Jennifer Ann Wilson, who is in Kalamazoo tonight with more on how this whole situation unfolded.
As you might imagine, the entire Kalamazoo community is still reeling from last night's violence. Violence allegedly committed by a man with no prior criminal history, a man who even passed a background check to be a cab driver with the company Uber. A man we now know has 2 children, a wife, and by all accounts is a very well-liked neighbor. And people I've spoken with who know Jason Dalton say they can't believe he would ever do anything like this.
He just seemed like a normal guy. This is just so strange.
Gary Pardo has lived across the street from Jason Dalton and his family for more than 12 years.
When their kids were born, I mean, my wife would take something over to him and I would talk to Jason.
Seeing his face in connection with last night's deadly shooting spree has been a shock.
You just don't understand it. I mean, it's hard to put in words.
This Uber passenger put into words her experience with Dalton a little after 5 p.m. last night, writing in a Facebook post that he was driving erratically and blowing through stop signs. About 30 minutes later, police say Dalton opened fire on a mother who was outside of her apartment with 2 of her children, seriously injuring her. Several of those bullets came dangerously close to hitting these 3 teens who were playing video games inside their apartment.
Some of them just had like a strong enough force to go through penetrate the wall and into the room.
How scary.
It was it was a little scary, to be honest.
Several miles away and several hours later, the rampage continued at a car dealership.
A father and his son out looking at vehicles, just stopping by the auto lot like many of us has done in our life.
Was there any interaction? Did he know them?
He did not know them as far as we know. It doesn't appear there was any interaction other than he walked up and just shot him.
Then 15 minutes later, police say Dalton opened fire again, killing 4 more and critically injuring a 14-year-old girl in a Cracker Barrel parking lot. By 1 a.m., Dalton was behind bars. An entire community left shaken to its core.
This is tragic. This is tragic for his family and for all those other people. And our prayers go out to all of them.
Kalamazoo Public Safety is telling us that 6 people are dead. A 14-year-old little girl has been fighting for her life all day long. Another victim, an 8th victim, is critically injured but expected to survive. Now, the county prosecutor says that he expects at least a dozen charges to be filed against Dalton tomorrow when he'll make his first appearance in court. We also will be in court and are hoping to find some answers to what went on here last night, especially to that big question I know is on everyone's mind. Why? Reporting in Kalamazoo, Jennifer Ann Wilson, 7 Action News.
Thanks, Jennifer. And people in Kalamazoo trying to heal from this unthinkable tragedy. Hundreds attended a prayer vigil tonight at an area church.
7 Action News reporter Camila Miri joins us live in Kalamazoo, where it has been an emotional night, to say the least. Camille.
Dave and Brianne, to say the least, it was such an emotional night. So many people in tears as they mourned the lives of 6 people. A community in mourning, a tragedy hard to comprehend. One of their own opening fire on innocent strangers, killing 6 people. Tyler Smith was the youngest victim, car shopping with his father when they were killed.
I have 3 kids and they all knew Tyler very well, and it's difficult, very difficult. I don't know what to say. I have no words.
People gathered tonight in prayer not only for the victims but also for the alleged shooter, 45-year-old Jason Dalton.
First few days of it, no, I don't think it will be easy. But, you know, God makes a way. His grace comes in and he pushes you along.
Lieutenant Governor Brian Kelly offering words of hope and strength to a city shaken to its core. And religious leaders speaking tonight about the power of prayer.
I want to speak to our city. I want to break fear off of our city. Amen. The enemies come in to try to make us fearful, but our God is greater.
And such an emotional night. Now, so many people I talk to say it will take a long time to heal from this, but they say their city, Kalamazoo, will not be defined by this tragedy. Live in Kalamazoo, Camille and Mary, 7 Action News.
Camille, thank you. Uber says 45-year-old Jason Dalton passed a background check in order to work for the company as a driver partner, but a passenger, Matt Mellon, says he knew something was wrong the moment he climbed in Dalton's car.
Pretty scary ordeal, especially to be so closely involved with it, but I'm just happy I'm safe.
Mellon said he wound up jumping out of Dalton's car around 4:30 yesterday afternoon because of his behavior behind the wheel. It was roughly 90 minutes before the alleged shooting rampage began.
We got maybe a mile from my house. He got a telephone call, and after that telephone call, he started driving really erratically. We were running stop signs. He wouldn't stop. He just kind of kept looking at me like, well, don't you want to get a ride to your friend's house? And I was like, well, yeah, but I want to get there alive. We were kind of driving through medians, driving through the lawn, speeding along, and then finally, once he came to a stop, I jumped out of the car and ran away.
That's when Mellon says he called police. Once he got to his friend's house, Mellon told his fiancée what happened.
We posted the picture on Facebook just so our friends wouldn't get in a car with him if they happened to have to take an Uber that night.
In a statement, Uber's chief security officer said in part, "We are horrified and heartbroken. We have reached out to the police to help with their investigation in any way that we can." A man from Indianapolis who was in Kalamazoo told NPR that he, his wife, and his parents also got a ride from Dalton at around 12:20 this morning. That would have been after the 8 people had been shot and about 20 minutes before police arrested Dalton in downtown Kalamazoo.
And so just who is Jason Dalton? 7 investigator Jonathan Carlson joining us live to continue our team coverage. Jonathan?
Yeah, authorities, including the FBI, have been interviewing Jason Dalton all day, but as we've mentioned, they have yet to learn a motive, and those that know him and his family are dumbfounded too. By all accounts, Jason Dalton was an ordinary guy. He had become a little paranoid recently, buying a gun, neighbors say, fearful of intruders on his rural property. But no signs the 45-year-old was on the verge of exploding.
He just seemed like a normal guy.
Gary Pardo lives next door.
We're in shock. We're wondering what might have caused him to do this.
Dalton, an insurance adjuster by day, was an auto enthusiast by night.
He worked on cars a lot.
That was when he wasn't tending to his wife and 2 young kids, all of whom have retreated, says neighbor Chad Landon.
I ain't seen his wife or his kids.
Living within a stone's throw from the Daltons, he can't help but be thankful his family wasn't chosen to be victimized.
That could have been us.
The 7 investigators have been digging into Dalton's past, but there isn't an obvious trail that would appear to lead to this weekend's rage. Dalton has no criminal record, minus a few traffic tickets. He passed Uber's background check, and although folks around him knew he had weapons, they didn't suspect it was for anything sinister. A handgun was found on Dalton when arrested. Authorities don't know yet if it was licensed. Other weapons have been taken from his home. While attacking people in his hometown, police say the victims didn't know him and he didn't know them. And Dalton is expected to face murder charges in the morning and is going to be arraigned in the afternoon. Live in the newsroom, I'm Jonathan Carlson, 7 Action News.
Thanks, Jonathan. And Governor Rick Snyder has ordered all flags to be flown at half-staff for the next 6 days. He says this is a way to honor each of the 6 victims who died in the shooting spree. And former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords is also responding to the tragedy. She and her husband, Captain Mark Kelly, issued this statement. It reads in part, "We are grateful for the brave first responders, but grieve for those who lost their lives." It also says, "Our hearts are in Kalamazoo." Giffords was shot during an assassination attempt back in 2011.
Western Michigan University released a statement that addresses the reason why the school did not issue a campus alert about the shooting spree. President John Dunn said the shootings happened in 3 different areas over a period of several hours. He claims the Public Safety Department was not aware of the incidents until 11:30 last night. Moving forward, the university is expected to make changes to its emergency procedures and explore more effective ways to use social media. Dunn is holding a forum to address any questions or concerns for students and the campus community. It's scheduled for 7 p.m. tomorrow at the Bernhard Center on the Western Michigan University campus. And be sure to stay with Action News and WXYZ.com for the very latest. We'll have continuing coverage on this developing and tragic story out of Kalamazoo.
And of course, we are just getting started tonight on 7 Action News at 10. Still to come, a family of 6 found dead inside their home. Tonight, why fire officials are saying carbon monoxide is to blame.
And just hours after the votes were tallied, the presidential candidates were back out on the road. There was already controversy brewing. First, here's Hallie.
A quiet end to a mild weekend, but colder air on the way. So is a chance for rain and snow. How's your hour-by-hour forecast coming up?